She is a supermodel. She is a legend. She is the one and only Beverly Johnson. What's up, Miss Johnson?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you
Oh
so
my,
much for that introduction.
can you
But
let me
we're
just fan out for a minute? I
yes, please,
love you.
please.
I
Oh,
So I had this game that I play called Black Trivia Quiz, and you're in it, of course. And everybody always gets it right. It's considered one of the easier questions because it's just so iconic. Who was the first black woman on the cover of American Vogue? And of course, it was you in August of 1974, Beverly Johnson.
wow! Because
Just
it was a Jeopardy question, and they got it wrong.
oh, that's ridiculous.
They
I
said
mean,
Diana Ross. Oh, this was decades ago, but still, it was kind of funny
I
that they
mean,
did get it wrong.
yeah. Listen, 1974. I mean, this
Yes,
year marks the year you made this history, and of your one woman show, we have to go out and support it. I mean,
yes.
I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot, but can you take us back to the moments leading up to this cover? What you're thinking? You're a young black woman, and you're about to make this history. What was it like? The moments leading up, and then of course when you saw it.
Well, so in order, the American Vogue cover is our Oscar in the fashion
Yeah.
industry. It's our gold medal. So as a student and just getting into the business, I had set my focus on retaining that cover. So I was very lucky. My first job was Glamour magazine, and my second was Essence magazine. Right out the back, before I even had an agent. So I did a lot of editorial for Vogue, and I didn't know I was being photographed for the cover because it was really just a beauty shot with Francesco Scavullo. I can remember like it was yesterday. And I can remember when I got that phone call and said that you had the cover because you don't know you have the cover until you're on the cover. I mean, that was in the olden days. Now, if Beyonce says she was on the cover of Vogue, she's on the cover of Vogue, that month.
Right. Right.
But then you didn't know. And so I got that early morning phone call from Wilhelmina Modeling Agency, and she said, you're on the cover.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
was just, I tell you, it's a defining moment in my life. And I get as excited today as I did back in 1974 about that cover.
Let me ask you, Miss Johnson. So, 1974. What was the reaction? Was it all love? Was it some crazy folks? Like, what was? And you know what's funny? I remember this. Well, I wasn't alive in '74, but I've done so much research and studying. I remember there being a critique, and if I'm wrong, correct me. This could be overstated. And well, she has quote unquote white features. Well, it's not. Iman got the same thing. What did you think when you heard those critiques? Like, yeah, but it's not real. It's just craziness. But what did you think when you may have heard that?
Well, I actually was from more white folks than black folks.
Mm.
In my case, I remember the Buffalo Courier news said I'm a Polish woman dipped in chocolate. I was like,
Wow.
but as we know, we are a diverse race,
Yes.
African American and Black people
Yeah.
throughout the globe. So that's just a lack of that person's history and knowledge of Black people. So we did
Wow.
it. I was a competitive swimmer, right? We swam all over the tri-state area, all Black swim team. So we took a lot. And as a swimmer, you learn to keep your head down and touch the wall first. You can take a peek every now and then, but basically you're laser focused. So that's who I am. That's how I was trained. So not very much throws me off.
Nothing throws you off. I love it. So tell us about your one woman show. Tell us what people can
Ah,
expect. How did you construct this? I love that you're doing a one woman show called In Vogue. So tell us about it.
so Joshua Ravage, who created Carrie Fisher's Wishful Drinking, he did
Mm,
Dick Van Dyke's one man show. He's a one man brilliant creator, writer, producer, director. and he's my best friend. I did a play with him years ago, which we put that also in the story, and we created this together. And he's just, it's not boring. It's not. I was born in Buffalo. It's not that. It's like a roller coaster. It's like you're laughing and then you're crying, and then you're laughing and then you're joyous. I mean, it's really, if I do say so myself, it's just a lot of fun to do, and it's a lot of fun to react with the audience, and and have the audience really respect not only my story but how it's told, and the way it's told is entertainment. So you really do enjoy it, and you grasp every part of it because it's very entertaining and it's fun.
Now, what's interesting is that you also go really raw on this. I mean, you talk about drug addiction and the show, your ups and downs. I'm looking forward to folks seeing that. My question to you is, how did you survive? How did you get through it? Because, folks think about drugs now, but back then, from what I've heard, it was really big in the 70s, really big in the 80s, and so on. What brought you through on the other side that's so inspirational?
No, listen, I had an angel on my shoulder, no doubt. And it's really interesting that people, I guess I never really spoke about drug addiction. I talk about everything, because I have a big mouth. But and it's and now I realize, because of the AA program that we have, you're told not to promote. It's through attraction, not promotion. So it was sacred. Now today it's a different story, because a lot of people know about the AA program, the 12-step program, and I just took the liberty to talk about it. But I didn't realize that people didn't know that. Particularly in the modeling industry, we were all on hook. Now, everybody is not on drugs and on cocaine in the industry, or there are a lot of people who never even touched drugs before. But when you're in that bubble, you think that everybody's doing it. And remember, it was before cocaine was addictive. Remember, it was an addictive drug, and you couldn't get cancer from cigarettes. I did Virginia Slims ads too, and cigarette ads.
Yes.
That wasn't, you didn't get cancer from cigarettes. You look cool from cigarettes. So it was so I'm really happy that I'm touching on that subject, because I really didn't know, because it's my life, right? In the rooms and in AA, and that I'm always surprised when people are surprised that I was addicted to cocaine. I mean, it was really just the Ozempic of our time.
Right.
Is that how do you pronounce that?
The weight loss drug. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that was ours at that time. So
because you were trying to stay on a diet, correct? You wanted to be skinny, skinny, skinny. Do I have that right?
We didn't want to eat.
We didn't want to eat.
We did not eat. We thought water was fattening. If a girl was drinking water, we'd be like, that's, and that was the requirement, and still is really, of that. That's one of our occupational hazards, is that you can't eat. Because you have to be thin. Wow. You have to be a hanger. You have to be a physical hanger. A human hanger.
Right. Do you think that's changed significantly now? From the outside looking in, it appears that it has, but I don't know the fashion. I know you. I know Iman and Naomi Campbell, but has that changed, or is it still these rail thin standards?
It's rail thin standards.
It's still there.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's just, we're the canvas. An artist wants a white, clean canvas to work on. They don't want a canvas that's, they want it clean, and that's the canvas for the industry. I do believe that when you are a very young woman like I was, you're naturally thin. I was tall, flat chested, and pencil thin. Believe me, it wasn't very attractive to. I didn't get a lot of boys. Let's put it that way. So I was naturally built that way. No butt, no boob, no nothing. A hanger. And a lot of women that go into the industry are just naturally thin. But then
I have to ask you.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I have to ask you, again, really excited for this one woman show. I'm sure you're aware of this, but you've been also an inspiration for a lot of LGBT folks. Of course, not all, but a lot of some LGBT folks feel connection with the fashion industry. For folks who may not know, there is this thing called the ballroom scene, where it's kind of like family runway, this dance form called voguing. And I can recall going to balls back in the day, and they would say, "Bring it like Beverly Johnson." I can recall people saying this, "Bring it like Beverly Johnson." So I was just wondering if you could reflect on the impact that LGBT folks, gay folks especially, have had in your career as far as a fan base and support.
They actually are my teacher. You know,
Mm.
my mentor was a gay man. He taught me everything there was to know about beauty, cheekbones. I didn't know anything. I'm a jock. I'm a nerd. And he taught me everything about diamonds and how to test pearls from the ballet to the opera to, I mean, just was immersed in what I needed. And it was from my James Farabee. He's no longer with us, but my mentors were gay men, and my friends are gay men. So I, I'm about that world,
Hmm.
significantly about that world. You should have saw us
Absolutely.
go to the opera. He's in a cape and I'm in a cape. We're dripping in diamonds by the yard, and we walk in. We stop traffic all the time. And we're talking about way back in the 70s.
Right.
So we were really
How do you,
stopping traffic.
right? And how do you feel about how things have appeared? There's still a lot of hate out there, have evolved. You see more people playing with gender, playing with fashion. That's a step in the right direction. I mean, there's still a lot of hate out there, obviously, but still, that's
Yes,
a step. Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
step, and it's wonderful to see all of the progress. And it's also heartbreaking to see that we're trying to go backwards in a lot of ways,
yeah,
not just with diversity and our LGBTQ uh, fellow, but also it's just very hurtful to see the hate in the world in any
yeah.
form. It really is.
Absolutely.
But we know
So
we're going forward no matter what.
we're gonna fight. So let me ask you this: in June of 2020, Anna Wintour released a statement about being more inclusion of Black creatives with Vogue, and there was this statement, and she spoke out, and so on, and that was almost 4 years ago. And I feel like a lot of organizations, even outside of fashion, made these declarations. Do you think Anna Wintour has done better nearly 4 years later?
I think I know Anna Wintour. I mean, know just because of who she is and she was very concerned and really took some steps to correct that injustice. And we've got a long way to go.
Hmm.
I'll just sum it up like that. We have a long way to go. She's a supporter of mine, and I have a lot of respect for her. But more so than the forward facing, because I think that we are being seen on the covers and in the magazines, and we have artists on the cover, Beyonce and Rihanna, and it's really wonderful to see. My interest is in the economics of the industry. It's $1 trillion industry, and we do not participate in the economics of the industry. Forward facing, we're fine, but really being a part and sitting on the boards of these multi conglomerates so that they can actually see a person of color and start to make sure that the monies and people are put into positions throughout the entire business so that we can participate in the capital of this $1 trillion. That's what I would like to see.
In Vogue, the one woman show, you also talk about your involvement in the Me Too movement. And of course, a lot of us remember when you came out and talked about your experience with Bill Cosby. And I don't know if you heard this, Miss Johnson, but I remember hearing from a lot of people in our community because black men are so wrongfully accused of assault from white women. That's just a long history. I remember a friend of mine saying, I didn't take it seriously until Beverly Johnson came out and said something. Um, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but he said, I just wasn't sure because of the other people. But when she said something, I took it seriously. What's your response to that? And how do you believe your story can really inspire change when it comes to this Me Too movement?
When I heard that, because there was a lot of pushback. I mean, death
Oh,
threats.
yeah.
I mean, it was. I knew that it was going to be polarized. I knew that going in. But there's some things in your life you just have to do. I don't know. It's just that I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't speak up at that moment. Also, I know that you can't speak up until you have the leverage where you can speak up. So because, but you know, I felt very honored. I remember reading someone on Instagram or whatever saying, "Well, there goes the nail in the coffin." If Beverly
Mm-hmm.
Johnson said it, I
Yeah.
believe I believe it. And it's it was unfortunate. It was polarizing, and we were speaking out when Trayvon Martin and all these young black men were being shot by white cops. I mean, it couldn't come at a worse time. It just couldn't have come at a worse time. But it was the perfect time in a sense that he needed to be stopped. He needed to be stopped.
Mm.
And I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother, and so it's just not about me anymore. you know um, and also my mother had passed, and I would have never done my memoirs, The Face That Changed It All. And that's where it all started. I wrote a chapter about Cosby. I'm being, it's my memoir, and I want that in there. And Simon and Schuster turned it down. They said, we don't want it. I was like, that's interesting. I didn't know they had a book deal with Cosby at the time. And then when it all came out and I went to Vanity Fair, and, the whole Cosby thing exploded, they said, oh, about that chapter, we want it back.
Mm.
And I did get it in my memoir. So it's all started from my memoirs.
Wow.
And I told the story there first before I went to Vanity Fair.
Really, really incredible. And now we see more. I mean, there's even allegations of Sean Diddy Combs and so on. It just appears to continue. So
Well,
I think,
I think the man woman um, dynamics throughout the world, throughout the globe, is is it has to transform, because women are human beings and we are not cattle. We are not property. And so this is an evolvement of evolving as humans that's happening. So it's just not, Diddy Combs, and that's not these particular people, men in power, or I mean, women that work in a restaurant and the owner are just making passes, and all kind of not that are crossing the line every day towards women, every day. And not just to stars, and not just powerful people, just the normal woman is being harassed every day. I don't know a woman that have not had a Me Too moment. I don't know one. Do you?
no,
It's a
my mother,
rarity.
my cousins, my aunties, they've all absolutely, whether it's working at a fast food restaurant or working whatever. Everyone I know has been through something to that effect. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't like narrowing it down to Cosby and to what it's bigger than that. It's
Yes.
bigger than that. And so we should really look at it at that level.
Before you go, one last question. We're in a we've touched it a little bit, but we're in an interesting time right now. We're in an election cycle. I know people who are afraid and they're concerned of what could happen in November. Um, you've been through a few presidential administrations, and you've talked about you're worried about things reversing back. How are you feeling about the future of this country? I just want a little bit of your wisdom. Are people overreacting? Should we be deeply concerned? I mean, you saw the Nixon era. I heard that was a horrific time. Um, I just would know a little bit of your brilliance on. I know so many folks who are really concerned.
So,
How do you
so
feel?
I used to always say, "Oh my God, what a great time to be alive!" You know, Nelson Mandela was freed. The Berlin Wall came down. We got it. We solved the HIV problem. What a great time to be alive! And then it would, and then it would, and then it went the other way. And it's the pendulum, right? It's the pendulum swinging. And and I think for Black people, nothing phases us. Nothing, because we've been through it, you know, and it's just it's natural that the pendulum will swing back up that way. Is where we are now. It's ugly, but it will come back. It most certainly will come back. We shall overcome. I'm full of hope. And because I'm a student of Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson and all those people that got us where we are now, where we can even look to see where we were doing good and now we're not again. We didn't even have that choice then. We was just down and out, back of the bus, you name it. So I'm a very optimistic person. The glass is always half full. And as a Black woman, and a Black person, you can only be that way. That's how we survived. We believe. We keep the faith. We believe. And so I believe that, we just look back at this period and chuckle. This is going to look
Right.
good in history, because when it comes back to where it should be, and maybe even better, because we were all the way up there, it's going to be a great time.
Wow. Well, it is an honor to talk with you. I've always wanted to talk with you. You are just a living legend. You are a living history. And I'm so excited. I want people to come out and support In Vogue. It's your one woman show. It's playing until February 4th. Get your tickets. Get your tickets now. Don't. It's in New York City, correct?
It's in New York City at that theater, 59th Street, which is on 59 East 59th Street, which is right around the corner from where I started my career.
Wow. Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible. What a phenomenal career. I want to thank you for paving the way, tearing down doors, being up. And also, can we just acknowledge, I mean, your business acumen? You were doing hair care products very early. You really, my gosh, just business wise. I mean, folks really
Yes.
weren't doing that before you. That was, I remember seeing your hair care products when I was very young in
Yes.
black beauty salons. I mean, that was
Yes.
ahead of its time.
Yes. Yes. I mean, women when I go to the airport would say, "I got your wig on. I got your wig on."
Yeah.
And that was before I was even wearing wig and hair extensions. Yeah, I've been very fortunate, but as a model, we're entrepreneurs. We're we naturally are. We hire the agencies. Agencies don't hire us. We hire them, and so we have that kind of spirit in us. Anyways, thank you very much for the compliment, and also the compliment on my businesses. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. I adore you. The legendary, the icon, the one and only Miss Beverly Johnson. You have a good day. Be safe, all right?
Thank you very much. God
All
bless.
right. Thank you.